Nathalie for the kind warm-up. I'm so excited to be talking here about how we should look beyond pixels as designers. So let's start. Okay, so as a design industry, we talk a lot about magical products. So according to ChatGPT, my new best friend, 40 to around 50% of all design blogs, articles, talks mention magical products or magic in products. And one of the apps always mentioned is Airbnb. And don't get me wrong, I love Airbnb. But when we talk about it, we always talk about its delight, its great UI. Oh my God, look at the illustration, so well crafted, so beautiful. Look at those icons, so like realistic and beautiful again. The interactions are so smooth. When I tap on the card, it expands and it feels so right. Not to mention the beautiful, buttery, smooth animations. But we tend to forget that Airbnb is a massive business. Even just looking at the 2024 stats, 8 million active listings, operates in 220 countries, a little bit less than 300 million users, a gross booking value of $73 billion. I can't even imagine those kind of numbers. So let's put that in the Polish context. According, again, to ChatGPT, around 10% of Polish population uses Airbnb. So that's the combination of the population of Warsaw, Krakow, Gdańsk, and Wrocław. It's massive. But I doubt that all those people use Airbnb because of the beautiful, buttery, smooth animations. I think we need to evaluate the product with a second layer. So when you book stuff through Airbnb, it's really smooth. It doesn't make you think or doubt things. You have all the right information at hand, everything you need, really. When you go through the checkout, it doesn't make you feel like you're going to get scammed and your money's going to be gone. It provides a unique value for users. I mean, how often can you book a tree house in Iceland, for example, or a tiny house in the Netherlands on the water? And not to forget, it makes money for the business. It pays its employee a salary, it makes money for its shareholders. We should be thinking about that too. So throughout my career, I've been really thinking, how does one build these magical products? And early on, I was obsessed with the first part. So I spent hours designing cute empty states and making sure the interaction felt just right. And then I was negotiating hours with PMs. We really need those animations. But then in 2018, I learned that actually it's the second part that really makes the product magical. So naturally, the question is, what happened in 2018? So at that time, I was at Slack, and I was redesigning the checkout. And you can see how the checkout looked like at that time. Not the greatest. So let's analyze it. You have a bit of a price confusion because you have price per seat, so $667, and then underneath it, you have the total price, but you don't know where it's coming from. So problem number one, price confusion. Then let's go back. Lots of information on the page, lots of tiny fonts. Am I going to get scammed? I don't know. I need to redefine print. Okay. And then there was also a lack of clarity and delight. Upgrading your software should feel good. You're going to get new stuff. You're going to feel empowered. It's a good moment in time. So the number two and number three, okay, easily fixed with a new UI. So that's what we did. So basically, this is the redesigned version. It's more like Airy. You have one thing at a time to focus on. So you first enter the company information. Then you go, okay, how are you going to pay for it? You have a mini calculator on the side to really see quickly the price. And then this is the completion step. It's okay, you've purchased it, good moment for education, right? It's okay, you're going to get all these features and all those other features you didn't know about. So we added some cute illustrations, some additional copy to educate you about the different features, et cetera, et cetera. But we still have problem number one. you have the price confusion, right? It's like we've seen the 667 and then suddenly total price. So usually when you don't know where the big number is coming from, that's either a calculator or like an equation, easy. So that's what we did. When you first started the checkout, you had this full screen modal to go really in depth about the price. So you can select, do you want to pay per year or per month? Then you have the detailed calculation. Then you have to estimate your sales tax, your yearly payment, etc. This was supposed to be a time to breathe, analyze the price, understand where it's coming from, and then once you're like good with it, then you can move on. So once you moved on, you had always the like mini calculator on the side for like reassurance. Oh my God, did the price change? No, it's still the same. And we spent hours redesigning these calculators. It's like making sure it has all the right information, it's really easy to understand, et cetera, and et cetera. But the thing that was really difficult was this equation. So you have 667, so that's a unit price, times active members times 12 months. So what is this number, active members? So remember, we're at Slack. You have a lot of people that are online with the green dot. Is that? Well, then why is the number different? So maybe it's like all the people that are within the workspace. But again, the number doesn't match. So where does this come from? And then you Google it, and it's like, there's something called billable active. Okay, that sounds about right. I'm on billing. But then the question is, how does one become one? And this number was coming from one thing, our fair billing policy, which in the end is like, it's a really good thing. You pay only for what you use. So if you don't use Slack, you don't pay for that. It's a nice thing, right? But it created a lot of it was hard to explain, right? It's very detailed complication, so that's like a mouthful to explain. It's like very transparent if you go into the numbers, but you have to go into the numbers. Also, that means that if in September you have 20 people using Slack and you pay a certain price, if you go to October and you have more people or less people, it's going to be a different number, so the price changes. So with my product writer, we're like, okay, what if we improve this little thing? So we went to the customer service department, we went to the business development department, we went to the finance department, and we're like pitching this idea. It's like, hey guys, we're working on checkout. What if we change this equation? And they're like, please don't. They spend time to explain to us how it's affecting all different things within their company, and why it might be slightly difficult to change it. And for context, this is 2018, so Slack is pre-IPO, and we IPO'd in 2019. Might affect a couple of things. So we're like, okay, we understand this is going to be difficult to change, but is there something we can do because we still want to explain this fair billing policy in a better way? So we're starting the process of negotiating, sort of like you negotiate with your engineers. You're like, let's build this, and they're like, impossible. You're like, okay, tell me what's difficult about it, and I'll tell you what I care about, and then we'll figure something out. So that's exactly what we did with the finance team and the business development team. And what we came up was a series of experiment ideas that there were a couple of them, and then two, they told us one big thing, which seems kind of obvious, but at the time, I did not realize this. The timing of when you run experiments is really important. I mean, think about it. If you're a public company, you have quarterly earnings calls. So you have to report certain metrics. So if you run an experiment and your metrics tank just before your earnings call, not the greatest thing. So we're like, okay, got it, registered, done. So we created a new plan. We decided that for now, we're going to focus on post-upgrade billing, so redoing our billing statements and our receipts. And then later on, we do more experiments, checkout that we figure out with the finance team and the BD team. So that's what we did. So those are the receipts and the billing statements. And you can see it has the same issues. You have the price that we don't know where it's coming from. There's a lot of information, but it's not super beautiful. It's kind of a little bit confusing. It doesn't match the checkout. So we iterated on it. That was the receipt that we designed. You had a calculator on the side. You had a little bit more information about fair billing. And then it looked like the checkout, so it felt like a continuous experience. Same with the monthly statements. We added the calculator, added fair billing policy explanations, made it look like the checkout. Easy. So now you're like, Nathalie, you've talked about the before and the after, so we will know what impact on the metrics it had. Well, the big thing that happened was we had a significant drop in number of customer tickets. So people used to write to us like, where does this number come from? Why is it like this? There's a thread on Reddit about this. And after we shipped all those changes, those numbers went down, which felt like we really made an impact. And I feel like if we just changed the UI without going deep into the other parts of it, we wouldn't have the same impact. So what this taught me is you can't put a lipstick on a pig. And you really have to go deeper into how things are made. So this project had a big impact on my life. I mean, it's 2025. I'm talking about something that happened in 2018. Quite some time ago. But I think this made me realize a couple of things. One, the product teams and the finance teams usually don't communicate that often. And I wanted to go and understand the impact on both things on each other. So basically, I quit my job, I took a year out, and I did an MBA. But I think in order to be impactful at your work, you really don't have to take a year out and study finance. Like, not necessary. That's a bit overboard. Nobody's asking you to be a business wizard, know how to do financial modeling, be an expert in stats, or like know all the shortcuts in Excel. I think you need to know 3 things. You need to understand the context, speak your partner's language, and get involved or get people involved. So what do I mean by that? First, understand the context. So your feature and your product operates within the greater things of things, right? So you have a lot of things affecting it. So you have the market, you have your own business model, the moat, and the funnel. And you should take all those things into account. So let's go through it. The market. What things are changing in the world? How is that affecting your product? I'm sure that after 2 days of talking, we're sick of hearing about how AI is going to change the world and change our jobs. But it is affecting things. We should look also at what our competition is doing, what's working for them, what's not working for them, what we can learn from them. There's sure are lessons to be shared. We should look at how our business model operates. How do we make money? Where is the friction? Why people are paying us money? Why they're not willing to pay us money? And you can say it's we're designers. Why should we worry about how do we make money? That's some other people's job. But the thing is the business model of your company will affect the features you're going to build. So for example, if you're a freemium SaaS business, the features that are going to get promoted are things that help free users convert to paid users. And that's going to be the main experience. So this should be good, right? If you're in a company that is an ad revenue-based company, let's say any social media, what they care about is engagement and time spent on the platform. So things like on Instagram, moving to the next reel, those are the things that are truly impactful. And if you're in a transaction model business, then getting us fast through the checkout, the one click to buy on Amazon, those are the things that are going to get more promoted within the company. So it's good to keep that in mind. Next, the moat. So the moat is a word coined by Warren Buffett. And what it refers to is when you have a fortress and you have the moat around it that helps protect the castle. So in terms of businesses, that's basically what it means. What is your unique sauce that prevents your competition to taking you over? And there's different kinds of it. So there's brands, like the brand mode. So think of Apple or Nike. They're known for like high quality products. And that's what makes a difference. So if suddenly you're like, well, Apple's going to release something not so great, the competition is catching up to them. They're losing a little bit their moat. If your moat is around your network, right? So like, that means all your friends are there, so you have to be there. So that's something related to like all the social media companies. That's why they want to have you invite all your friends at once when you're starting the onboarding. Or if your moat is around low cost, think of Ryanair. The things they're developing is like, okay, the standing seats, super cheap, fits perfectly within their brand. But if they suddenly starts doing the like premium first-class cabins, like in Emirates, a little bit off, because then they're going to start charging more, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like as we develop features, we really have to think about the moats. Next, the funnel. Data will tell you so many stories about your users. What is their biggest problem? Where do people most drop off? Where is the bottleneck? And why is that important? When looking at the data, you can analyze what you should focus on, right? So let's say the biggest drop-off is in onboarding. Probably you should focus on making onboarding really good, rather than investing all your time and resources into like super advanced features. So let me give you another example about this. Let's say we're in a core team at Google. We're working on search. And let's say it's like 2020, middle of the pandemic, right? So a lot of people are like scared about their health. You get a symptom, let's say I have a headache. The first thing you do is you go to Google, you type in there, the link that comes up is like WebMD. At Google, I type, I have a headache. The answer is like, you have cancer. We've all done it. So if we were like at Google, why not pitch something? Let's make sure that people have the right access to medical information. So we could add a label to the search results. I don't know, those are like credible medical information, so you know which links to go to. Put that in the context of today with ChatGPT. I need to click on a link. Ew, no. I want the answer right here and there. So for example, if I'm researching if I need a visa to come to Poland for this conference, I don't want to go and have a link, then go on the website, read on it, then it's like another link to go make an appointment. My expectations have changed. I want to type this. Do I need a visa? It's like, yes or no. Here are the appointments for next week. Book it. It needs to be much more immediate. So I feel like we really have to think about the environment and how do we make money and all those things. Because if you think about it, the way how Google makes money based on like you click on a link, also very different in the world of ChatGPT. 2, speak your partner's language. So of course, we all care about slightly different things. What means quality for designers means something different for engineering and also for product people, right? So we need to make sure to like communicate what's important to us, but also hit the points what's important to other people. So let's go through some examples. Let's say we're on a design system team. Probably one of the things that we're asking is, okay, how do we push to have a dedicated team for it? How do we justify its impact? How do we justify its existence? You can show the value of design systems in 3 different ways. You can talk about the business value, user value, team efficiency. So if I'm talking to the head of design, I'll probably talk about user value. Look, our products are going to be so much more consistent, there's going to be fewer bugs, and then I can push an improvement across the board everywhere with one thing. But if I do the same pitch to the CFO, not going to land the same way. So if I'm talking to the CFO, I'll be like, okay, it's going to help us go to market faster, which means we need less people, so means cost reduction. And somebody yesterday in one of the talks asked, what if I don't have that data? Well, in the age of ChatGPT, you have a lot of approximate data. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to show a little bit more of the impact. So let's say you can calculate, okay, how much time I would need to create a button from scratch. And then you look at it, okay, how does it match when I have a design system? You calculate the cost saving in terms of hours, right? Then you're like, okay, how much does like a design or engineering gets paid per hour? Maybe you have that information on your career site, maybe not. You can get that information from ChatGPT, average hourly rate for an engineering cracker or a designer. And then you multiply this, and you multiply this by the number of components you're going to do in a year. Might not be perfect data, but is it about really that it's going to be as slotted there, as slotted there? Not really. It's more like approximate impact, right? And let's say now I'm trying to convince another team to use the design system. Feature teams always have too many things to do, not enough time. So yes, then I would be talking about like time to ship. And then also it's like, look, all those other people are using the design system. Actually, so you're behind. Now let's do another example. If I'm on a growth team. So I'm trying to put a project on the roadmap. The growth team cares about impact on funnel, impact on the revenue stream, and also the speed of shipping. So if I pitch something that's going to take a year to build, it's going to be hard to justify, right? We're like testing a lot of hypotheses, and then if it's right, then we have time to invest in it. So how do I pitch a project for the roadmap? I think here you have to really think about like what's the format you're pitching it. One thing that my data scientist at Figma did, which I think is absolutely genius, is she put our projects and she mapped them in terms of impact on revenue drivers. And then from that, she calculated the revenue impact, predicted revenue impact. So you have the list of projects on the left, and then you have the revenue drivers, let's say like acquiring new users, converting free users to paid users, and then user retention, right? So let's say we're pitching a new onboarding. That's going to help get new users onboarding to the product, and then not so much on the other things. So based on that, the revenue impact would be sort of low. But you can map all the projects that you have, and then make sure that like when you're pitching a project, if it's nicely within that, and so that like, pushes your project up. And last thing, get people involved, or get involved yourself. So a lot of the times people talk about design is not part of those conversations. The theory of it sounds great, but those things happen behind closed doors, and I'm not invited to it. So how do I do it? You need a Trojan horse, basically. So you first build relationships with the other departments. Go for lunch with people in the finance department, or BD. Learn about what's happening in their world, what they like think about, what's worrying them. Talk about your stuff as well. That way, next time they're like, oh, we're thinking about, I don't know, checkout, onboarding. Nathalie had some ideas. Let's invite her. 2, start conversations on those topics. In any of your communication tools that work, whether it's Slack, Teams, etc., post those questions. If people already have answers to them, great. You're going to learn how to arrive to it. You're going to learn the context, and next time, you can understand how to use that. If it hasn't happened, amazing. You're starting a conversation. You're going to be part of it. And 3, show the impact of these decisions on your work. I don't think people don't invite design because, I don't know, they don't like us. Or they're like, those people were only black, no thank you. It's like, they don't think that their work impact ours, right? It's like, how we calculate the price. Yeah, they're just going to add some copy on the design side. No worry. But we know that's not how it happens. I think you need to show that, like, okay, decisions from finance affect design in that way. If we do this on the design, this is how it's going to affect finance decisions. But if you don't know how this is going to affect finance decisions, go talk to the finance department or make some assumptions. Worst case, you're going to be corrected. Nothing bad's going to happen, right? But I think the main thing is show up, take a stand. The thing that you can be sure of is that if you don't start those conversations, you won't be part of them. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Don't wait to be invited. Worst case, you get corrected, and then you learn from it. So to recap, understanding the context, speaking your partner's language, and getting involved. All those three things, they can be mentioned as like strategic thinking, really, right? It's like nothing new. And then when we talk about design craft, especially as a differentiator in the world of AI, I think we talk a lot about like visual design and interaction design. But we want to make sure that we build those magical products that we've talked about. And we know that those, like, we want them to be frictionless and make sense. So maybe we should add that to our definition. Thank you.